Hi everyone and welcome to Edge-CGI. My name is Eugene, and in this tutorial we're going to be taking the topologized mesh that we had before and putting it inside of Substance Painter, in which we'll be exploring the projection texturing techniques with some of the parametric options that are available within the program, and just see the basic workflow within Substance Painter. Alright, here's the Substance Painter interface. Let's start with going into the menu, select new project. We have several options here. For first, select template. I'm not going to select any. I'm going to select my object here, the one that I've exported from Maya. You can specify a normal map format. I'll stick with OpenGL. And here's the document size. I'm going to stick with 1024 for this because I have the recording running in the background and I don't want my machine to crash. But you can go ahead and work in 248 and even go higher. Now you can add normal map here with the add normal map. You can click this add button here and import the normal map that we've created in Maya if you wish. But I won't be doing that. I want to generate a new normal map. Kind of show an alternative method of generating a normal map right inside Substance Painter, and does a pretty good job of that. So here's our model. We have layers, we have texture settings here, and material parameters. So the layout is pretty obvious here. We have a bunch of options, and we have a nice button called Bake Textures here, and a bunch of different channels that we can manipulate while texturing our model. So I'm going to click Bake Textures here, and first I'm going to set the output size to 1024. I'll rebake them before export because this is still too low, so we don't need some of these. We'll need normal, ambient occlusion, curvature, and thickness. Okay, so I'm going to specify our high poly mesh, our decimated, the one that we've got from ZBrush. And I'm going to tweak this envelope search distance just a bit to maybe 0.3 or 0.5. Just in case I kind of, while working with Substance Painter, I kind of, ran into some problems where the envelope wouldn't, see some of the geometry. So 0.05 works fine. If you can bake, it bakes all your maps and applies them at the same time. Normal map, ambient occlusion map, and then also generates our curvature map and thickness map that we're going to use to procedurally mask some of our layers here. So I want to start with some, here in the layer menu, I'm going to get rid of this layer here, this basic layer, and I'm going to go with presets first. And here I'm going to find something shiny, like maybe iron or steel for our first layer. Let's see, this iron raw kind of seems interesting, so I drag it in here, and as you can see, it applies it to the model right away, including all the surface details, normal map details, so it sort of like adds up to that. So now let's go to Material tab here and see what settings we can change. We can change parameters like channel mapping, color, roughness. So if you increase roughness, you can see it takes effect immediately. So let's stick with 0.2, maybe a bit bigger. So we have a bunch of different options, and the cool thing is that it's non-linear, so we can get back to our layers and tweak them as we go. So let's grab another layer. This time it's steel rough, and drag it on top. And as you can see, it overlaid, like it overridden the layer beneath. So I mean, the entire thing works a lot like Photoshop. But we have different channels to which this layer is applied here. So for example, we have color, metal, rough, normal, map, and height. So we can click them on and off to change the contribution of the layer. And right now this steel rough sort of covers the entire model, but we don't want that. We want it to only cover parts. So I want like the blades to be more shiny, and I don't want the wooden part to be covered. So I'm going to right click this layer and add white mask, and then with the mask selected, right click and add generator. So here we have this generator, and in the generator menu I'm going to select one of the preset generators. This one is Metal Edge Wear. So what it does, it just based on your curvature map here that we've generated previously, and ambient occlusion map, it kind of simulates how the material would be worn out. So I'm inverting it here because it kind of calculated it wrong. So I'm just inverting it, and you can tweak wear level, for example, to have like more or less of the effect and contrast, and play with a bunch of these different parameters. One of my favorites are grunge, which sort of breaks the edges of the mask a bit. So let's see, maybe make wear level a little bit higher here. Now I want to override some of these parts. For example, this blade here, it's not exactly as I wanted. So let's go and override that with some hand painting here. So I'm selecting the mask again, right click, add paint, and I set, instead of normal blending mode, just like in Photoshop, you can select different blending modes here. For now I'll do normal, and I'll select in this grayscale tab, I'll select black because I want to erase some of this mask. So let's see, I've chosen sandpaper brush, and I'm just going to just erase some of that coating here to sort of like make the underlying raw iron more visible. Alright, so basically this is what you do in Substance Painter. This is as complex as it gets. I'm exaggerating here a bit, but the workflow is just like that. You just manage your layers, you erase parts of them, and so the underlying layers are more visible or less visible. Now the layers that I have here are what is called fill layers. So fill layers basically just fill your entire model, and then you can manage their visibility with masks. There are standard layers where you can just paint with material, and right now I want some more different materials. I want to add more different materials to, for example, these decorative parts. What if we make them sort of like golden or made out of gold? So I'm going to drag this gold preset here, and as you can see, it's a fill layer as well, so it just fills the entire model here. So I just want to tweak the color a bit, maybe make it more, I don't know, more pale, sort of like yellowish pale kind of gold. And now I want to isolate some parts here. So since we have these parts on different UV islands, I can just add black mask here, and right now, since the mask is black, it's not visible at all. And now I'm going to grab this one, this little key tool, and in fill mode I'm going to select UV island. Make sure the color is white. So I'm going to just drag here in 2D view. I'm going to use this UV island. I'm going to drag onto our UV islands, and as you can see, it just fills the entire UV island with the material. It fills it with the mask, so the material is visible now. So this was one of the reasons why we left those details on a separate separate UV islands. Now this little knob here is not a separate UV island, so I just switched fill mode to polygon and drag or keyed this bump in the 2D view. So right now we have our golden parts and our metal parts. Why don't we go ahead and add wooden parts? Let's see. So this wooden part in the middle, let's search for a preset here. There's no such preset in standard materials, but in smart materials we have a bunch of different wood presets. Let's type in wood here. So let's grab this one. Now smart materials is basically the same thing, but instead of being just a material preset, it's a set of material layers that you can tweak to your liking. So you can go to the base and change the base color, and you can go higher to a higher layers, and change noise color here, and click them on and off, just like in Photoshop. So basically it's just a folder containing several layers that are in some sort of functioning system. here. So I'm going to go ahead with this wood walnut, and right click on this folder here. I can use mask again, so I'm going to add black mask. So right now it's all erased. So I'm going to grab our beloved polygon fill tool here again, and make sure color is set to white and mode is on UV island, and then just drag select our handle parts. But the upper part is fine, but the lower part here is supposed to have some leather straps on. Right now they are wooden and they are embedded into the UV island, so painting them would be a gigantic chore. So what could we do about it? Well, first let's go ahead and find some leather texture. Let's see, let's go to Materials tab here, and let's find something suitable. How about this leather bag? Let's drag it on top, and being the fill layer, first of all, it fills the entire model, but we need to limit it to these straps here. So I'm going to add black mask first. Now I'm going to add color selection, and here instead of ID mask I'm going to feed it our thickness mask that we generated. We've generated it for this sole purpose here. So I'm going to pick color, and in our either 2D or 3D mode I'm going to pick this black color here. And if we zoom in here, let's see, yeah, it seems like we've got our straps nicely filled, but it kind of bleeds onto the other UV islands here, so we need to isolate it to only be in this handle part. And I'm just going to add, let's see, I'm going to add paint on top, and I'm going to choose black color and choose UV island, and I'm going to just erase everything from these UV islands and make sure it doesn't bleed onto these, and this one as well, just in case. Okay. So now we only have this leather bag material limited to the certain UV island and certain thickness. Let's see, we can play with the parameters of the leather, maybe tweak the roughness here. Let's see, that seems pretty interesting. Okay, and let's change the color a bit, maybe make it a little bit brighter or more desaturated. Okay, so yeah, I mean, maybe make it black leather, huh? Yeah, black leather seems interesting. So, let's close this tab here. Next thing that I want to do is to paint these little bolts that kind of hold things together in. So I'm just grabbing our new fill layer, Steel, Rust, and Wear, and I'm going to set our let's see, our resolution jumped to 248 for some reason. Okay, so I'm going to add black mask again. Let's see, adding black mask so nothing is visible on this layer, and then I'm going to just grab default soft brush and just paint those guys in here. Okay, just manually go ahead and paint everything. I'm not being too careful with this for several reasons. First, this is the resolution we're working at is a little bit too low, and the second one is we're going to be adding some post effects like dirt and dust, wear, and blood splatter. So if I kind of do some sloppy work, like when doing these things, it's a good idea to try to be as accurate as you can. But if you're not, that's okay. By the way, here's the seam here, kind of visible. I'll spare this part a bit because it too boring. Just paint these bolts and doing some sloppy work here and there. not caring about the the borders too much. When painting, since it's real time, sometimes it can be laggy when you paint those things. So a lot of times being careful is if not impossible, it's really hard. But you can use lazy brush if you want to. It works the same way as in ZBrush. So I mean, if you're familiar with how ZBrush lazy brush works, go ahead and use it in here. So I'm kind of wrapping it up here. You know, some bolts on the metal part, on the golden part, on the gold part, excuse me. And let's see. You know, there is some bleeding here, like it kind of goes out of the boundaries of the bolt, but yet again we're going to cover it with some dirt. Now, since the dirt is going to be based on the curvature, and these bolts generate lots of curvature, it will definitely get a lot of you know, dirt baked in there eventually. So let's see, I'm adding a new layer here. This time it's just a blank layer, and I'm adding a fill effect. And I want to try and find some procedural here. So let's type in dirt, and select some of the dirt procedurals in the procedurals menu here on the shelf. Let's try this one. So I'm dropping it into color in the fill parameters. So we can tweak metallicity here. It obviously is going to be non-metallic and pretty rough. We don't need this height, or do we? We don't need normal level at all, but we can, you know, get some height a bit, just a bit above 0. So it means that it will elevate that layer from all the layers below and bake that into a normal map eventually, into the final normal map. So let's see. Now this is a bit gray, so I want to add another fill here, set its blending mode to color, and then we only need, on this fill, we only need the color channel. So I'm just going to pick some dusty sand-ish color here. Now, how about this pale yellow, kind of maybe a bit, I don't know. How about this one? Yeah, you know, that might work. So let's see, let's add white mask and add generator. And in generator menu, I'm going to use mg dirt. So what it does, it takes in the curvature and nematic occlusion map, as I've said before, and just fills in those, you know, cavities, and you can tweak these parameters like dirt level. Let's see, how about this? Now the contrast, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but it just sort of like makes the alpha that it applies more or less contrasty. So, you know, it just like enables you to bleed out of those cavities. But I kind of find this part to be overwhelming, so I'm going to paint it out a bit. So let's see, let's grab our polygon fill and set the color to black, or maybe gray, I don't know about this. Oops. And okay, sort of let's try different things here. It sort of destroys our cavities here a bit. No, that sucks. Well, let's stick with this for now. Okay, you know what, let's just get rid of all the dust in here. It's not going to be noticeable. Okay, so let's see. Now I want to get rid of the dust here as well, this leather straps. It seems like it works nicely. So let's see, this fill, this first fill, let's play with roughness a bit. I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen here, but you know, the cool thing about Substance Painter is that you can go back and tweak all the parameters that you want. Okay, so now I want a new layer, and I want to create some blood splatter here. So let's create a new fill layer. Yeah, okay, so now it's white, you know, since the base color is white for now. So let's pick some dark red, like dried blood color. Make it non-rough, make it blue reflective, like glossy. Okay, let's see. Maybe add a little bit of metallicness here, you know, just to get those 90-degree reflections a little bit more visible. Just playing with these parameters for now. Let's see what works. Well, this kind of looks somewhat bloody-ish. We're going to erase, most part of that, so I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. So I'm going to add black mask yet again. So this layer, this blood is not visible for now. And let's go into particles menu. Now this is really fun. Now what it does, it just like applies a physical sort of like particles that apply some color either to mask or to layer. It's easier to demonstrate. Oops, wrong instrument here. So let's select paint, brush, with leaks here, and so you just sort of paint with particles that are physically behave as expected, like leaks sort of like leak down on your model, and they just paint, mask, or material in. And pretty fun. And I suggest you go ahead and play with those things. So let's see, let's try to splatter here. So I've tried a bunch of them, and I found out weirdly that fire actually works best for our purposes here. I mean, not leaks, not splatter, but fire for some reason. So I'm just bloody firing these blades here. Okay, kind of laggy a bit. So as you can see, there is some previous attempt visible here. So here we go, some more fire. Fire is cool because it sort of like leaves non-uniform pattern that sort of looks a lot more like some organic, like some splatter or whatever. So I'm just like washing it away with heavy leaks. Just a matter of changing the grayscale from white to black, and you can do that with X on your keyboard, just like in Photoshop. And now let's wash away this blood on this side of the axe. So okay, let's get rid of some of that. Now it's still kind of looks too computer generated, so kind of want to go ahead and try to erase some of that. So I go with dirt brush and make sure the grayscale is set in black and just erase parts of that. So my goal here is to sort of create this dried blood that is kind of left from battle, dried on the axe because it wasn't washed properly. I just want to add to that whole worn out feel of the acid. So I'm just erasing some of that blood, making it more sort of like chaotic and less CG-ish, more had painted feel to that. Okay, still too much blood on this side. All right, so just a hint. This layer is just like a coating, an icing on the cake, but it's not super visible. But if you want real bloody kind of thing, you can just go ahead and paint in a lot of blood. All right, so my size is set to 224 again because I have recording running in the background. But here's you can work in high resolution here. And before exporting, I suggest rebaking maps because in here I bake maps at pretty low resolution. So if you hit export maps, you can see several presets here. Now these are really cool because they allow you to convert all the channels inside of the application to a set of channels that your game engine takes. So for example, if we go with Unity, if you go here in the configuration, you can see you have this bunch of different channels here, and they are either on RGB or on alpha, so it kind of shows you the information of what's going to be exported. Alright, so let's maybe select some preset here. Let's see, I'm going to select Unity Standard Metallic because this is what we're aiming for, Unity. And as you can see, we've got our diffuse channel set to albedo transparency, RGB alpha, specular and smoothness on RGB alpha, and then normal map with all the tweaks that we've done. That's a new normal map that's going to be generated, and emission here. But we don't have emission, it's still kind of listed in the preset here. If you need to add more channels, you can hit this plus button. And let's see, let's select our Unity 5. Where is it? We've got Arnold here. We've got a bunch of really nice presets. So I'm going with Unity 5 standard metallic here. set our resolution to something more, something better, like 2048. Right now it's on 1024. And then specify, before clicking export, you can just specify where you want those maps to be exported. So every channel that we've specified there is a separate map with all the channels from within the program being fed in there. So that's it. You just click export and you get your maps in the specified output folder. And that concludes it for today. I hope you found this video informative. If so, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to stick around for the final part of the series, in which we assemble all of our assets inside of Gaming Engine. And I hope to see you all soon. Bye.